Hey everyone, Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business. Today we're going to be talking about Steem hard forking and starting a new chain entirely called the Hive blockchain. And the reason that this is such a big deal is because this is actually happening in a very, very small time frame. This is happening on Friday, which is the 20th? Yes, the 20th. So very, very soon. I'll probably post this tonight. So it's happening in 2 days. And there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of concerns. I'm going to give my thoughts and just share some of the information so that you guys know everything that's going on. So it's happening on March 20th. This is going to be very, very big because this is the kind of original community of Steem that wants to move over. It's mainly the witnesses, and some major dApps have already announced that they will also move over. Now the question really is, are all the dApps going to move over, or are the majority, as well as are the majority of witnesses going to? So the general consensus that I'm getting right now is, for the most part, the majority of the witnesses are going to move. They're going to let the Tron sock puppets basically take over Steem. And I guess naturally we're going to see a lot of the dApps move over as well. And you shouldn't really even notice a difference on the actual interface of these dApps. It will just be the background, like the back network, that will actually change. So for the user, there shouldn't be a huge change aside from just like the actual blockchain itself. And maybe there'll be a new interface or something like that for Hive. But for the most part, your experience should generally stay the same. If anything, it should get better because on Hive, they're going to have more policies in place for decentralization, because the whole motivation for this was that Justin Sun had bought Steemit. He had 70 million Steem stake from the Ninja Mine stake from Steemit. And if you're confused by any of this, I've covered the original issue already in another video, so you can check that out. But just to briefly reiterate, it's that he bought this Steem, he wanted to use it for governance, or whether or not he did, the Steem blockchain witnesses set in place a policy that he couldn't. He then went to all the big exchanges that held Steem and got them to take the user funds and then stake those in for 13 weeks. And vote on governance and vote in their own witnesses, basically centralizing the chain. So a large motive, and naturally, he ended up speaking with a lot of the witnesses. A lot of the talks didn't seem to be very productive, and my assumption is that's what brought about this as the solution. They've decided to create a new blockchain called Hive, and one of the major differences is that there will be a 30-day delay between powering up and being able to vote on governance. Essentially, this will give them enough time in the future, if anything like this ever happened again, that they would be able to block them from being able to do this. While this does give them more like emergency power, it will essentially, and it centralizes in a way, it kind of centralizes the power more with the witnesses, but it will prevent anything like this from happening again, because basically Steem will become a centralized blockchain, and Hive wants to ensure that that won't be the case. Also, Hive will be carbon copying essentially everything from Steem on Friday. So whatever you've got on Steem, your posts, your cryptocurrency will all be copied over into the new Hive blockchain. So it should be a 1-to-1. So if you have 1,000 Steem power, you should have 1,000 Hive power, etc. for all three currencies: the Hive backed dollars, Steem backed dollars, Steem power, Hive power, and Hive and Steem. And they're going to copy everything over except for the Steemit stake accounts and all of their related accounts, including the Tron sock puppets. And the reason that that is so important is they don't want them to also be able to, have a major influence on Hive. And the Ninja Mine stake was a huge point of contention, or is that the right word? Anyways, it was a huge issue that they had to deal with, and they don't want that coming up again in the new blockchain. So that also creates a bit of curiosity and confusion, and raises the question, will the Hive blockchain be worth more because there's 70 million less of the token? And that's largely going to come down to how exchanges react to this whole thing. So on Friday, everyone who owns Steem will have duplicate of that asset in Hive. So say Hive was worth the same as Steem. You just doubled your money. So there's got to be something that is going to, affect this, right? Like there's no way that you're just going to have double, the Steem price won't change. That's too wishful thinking. What realistically will probably happen is Steem will probably lose a lot of its value. Realistically, if all the dApps start to switch over and people just stop using Steem, or these exchanges start to all list Hive, they might even delist Steem. It really all depends on how that plays out. So the two major factors here are, will dApps move over, and will exchanges cooperate with Hive or work more with Steem? Because we've already seen exchanges very biasly work with Justin, and it's hard to trust these exchanges anymore because they took user funds and then voted on a completely unrelated blockchain and tried to interfere with its governance. That is very, very concerning. That is like a bank trying to interfere with a political election and doing so successfully and then not getting in trouble for it. So that is why we're seeing all the things that we're seeing, because we don't want to ever see something like this happen again. So this should be a good thing, and this should actually strengthen the value behind Hive. And because there's way less tokens, it should have more value. But again, it really also depends how many people are even aware of this, how many dApps are going to switch over, and will exchanges actually cooperate. So there's another thing to consider. It's like, how many people actually are aware of this? How many people actually keep up with everything that's happening on Steem? Will a bunch of people even realize that they're using Hive on Friday? Because they might just keep using the dApps that they're using, and those dApps might have switched over. They might not even know. So the interesting thing is going to be, is there going to be changes to these dApps that's going to make it more obvious that now you're using Hive versus Steem? Where is the awareness going to come from? And that's also part of why I'm making this video, because obviously I don't have a huge audience, but if every single creator on Steem makes a video or a post about this, I'm sure the majority of people will catch on, in the same way that we all kind of united and came together around ensuring that we voted back in our original witnesses. And, even though this has really caused a lot of problems with Steem, I think the original community is stronger than ever. And I'm pretty certain that we're going to see the majority of them switch over to Hive, because Steem at this point is basically becoming owned by Justin, and people want a decentralized platform that is owned by the community. So I'm hoping that everyone kind of works with this and works with the original witnesses in moving everything over. I hope to see some of my favorite dApps move over. Again, there's already been some big announcements from certain dApps. I believe Splinterlands was one, and I will update in the description the other ones that did. I just can't remember off the top of my head right now. But again, we don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I am concerned that Steem will lose a lot of its value. Luckily, all of your assets will be duplicated over to Hive. The question is here now that if you've got Steem on an exchange, will you get an airdrop? It's only if exchanges work with you. So you're either better off to sell your Steem or put your Steem back in your Steem account so you can get the duplication and then maybe sell. I feel like there's going to be a ridiculous sell-off on Friday after that all happens. We shall see. Most of my Steem is powered up, so I can't really do much about that. But, we'll just have to see how all this plays out. But again, the main things that you want to look out for are exchanges going to be listing Hive? Will they delist Steem? and are dApps going to move over? These will be the major indicators of the actual value of Hive. Obviously, also how many people are actually moving over to Hive, but that's very hard to track compared to the other ones, because I'm sure these dApps will make announcements, as well as certain exchanges, Blocktrades, and one other smaller exchange has also announced that they will support it again. I forget the name, but I will add all this information in the description so you guys can get a very thorough documentation of everything that I've found when I was doing my research. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this. I think this is huge news. Again, this is happening in 2 days. So if you've got your Steem on exchanges, you got to sell it off before it plummets, or you got to put it back on Steem so that you can get your free Hive, because there's no guarantee that exchanges will honor the duplication or the free airdrop of the Hive. So, take that as you will. Make sure to act quickly. Again, only 2 days left. And if you did watch to the very end of this video, I really appreciate it. Make sure to comment #1ham in the comments below so I know that you watched to the very end. Let me know what you think about this. Do you think this is the right move by Steem witnesses? Do you think blockchain is going to be a success? Would you have called Steem a failure? Do you think it's going to be just really centralized now? Do you think exchanges will be with Hive or against it? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments below. You are amazing. Have an amazing day. I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scott C Business, signing off. Cheers.